Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com. Happy Monday, everybody. We're taking a look at the NBA and today in sports betting. It's Scott Reichel, my partner. Scott, how are you today?
Doing pretty well. Very nice weekend from a betting perspective. I had nothing on the golf, but Dustin Johnson shooting 30 under is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And yeah, basketball, I believe I swept the board on my three plays of the day. And we also made some money in the UFC. So overall, pretty good.
Fantastic. Yeah, you and I both had a profitable UFC night. Came down to the last fight for both of us, and it's a good fight. Good fight.
It was a good
So
fight for the over 3.5 as well.
it was, and the only fight I missed, Scott, was the first one when the big underdog cashed the ticket there.
That was actually pretty funny because I had two bets on that I gave out. I had the fight ending in the first 60 seconds. It looked decent there for like the first 20 seconds because Agapova just sprinted forward and tried to knee her in the face. And then I also had Agapova first round, which lost, but I had a personal sprinkle on the under 1.5, which might be one of the luckiest winners I've ever had. So, yeah, can't really complain too much, but a lot of good fights. A decent amount of my UFC plays got canceled because of some fighters dropping out, etc. But it was a pretty solid fight card. And I know that there are some high-profile fights coming up in the next couple of weeks. You have a couple title fights coming up with Adesanya and Costa, for example. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm probably it's never going to supplant, the big sports, quote unquote, for me.
You were really not a big guy into it, and then I think I converted you a little bit.
A little bit. I'd call myself a 70% convert. Here's how I know I'm a convert.
That's like a C-minus D+ convert right there.
I'm watching UFC instead of baseball or basketball. So
you have more action.
You got action every 10, 15 minutes or so, and you got another fight. I literally bet on every fight except the first one. So, that's fun. You put a little sprinkle and you watch, you pay your money and you take your chances. So
I've followed UFC for a long time, and I've been betting on it for a while, so it has been pretty profitable. I'm happy that after a brief 2-week losing streak, which I think is my career low on this,
right.
It's not a career high because it's a bad thing. So I guess a career low of 2 weeks in a row losing. It was nice to bounce back and make most of the those 2 weeks losses back so quickly. So hopefully that'll carry over into the next week's card.
Very good. So let's talk a little basketball here, Scott. A couple of closeouts yesterday as two teams that they just, I'm not going to say they look disinterested.
Shout out to my Nets, by the way, giving up 150 points and 100 points at Toronto's bench. That's impressive stuff. That is very impressive.
100 points from the bench. That is
that's some next level stuff right there.
You figure I don't know who had the bet on the leading Toronto scorer to be Norman Powell, but you cashed your ticket. Congratulations.
Ibaka had 27 and 15 in 20 minutes. You know how insane that is? His numbers like Shaq. He played 20 minutes. How do you have 27 and 15?
Well, I did have that one. I had Toronto minus 13 as a premium. I thought the Nets had certainly decided that they were ready to go back to Brooklyn.
As a Nets fan, I can truly say that was the only basketball game I did not watch any bit of yesterday. And it was apparently a good thing that I didn't watch any of it. Toronto scored at least 34 points in every quarter.
Yeah, it was a square delight there, Scott. Over and the favorite covered.
Who do you like, by the way, Toronto or Boston?
I still like Toronto.
I like Toronto in 7. I think it'll be a very good series, though. I think Toronto's bench is just the next level. I don't think Boston has the depth.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference right there. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, Scott, you make good plays by not making plays. I had thought real seriously about the favorite there in the Boston game. And we would have been sunk by 2 3-pointers yesterday at the buzzer instead of just one had I taken that game.
Well, I was actually looking at that game potentially for the under, which also got destroyed by that Embiid 3, but I didn't touch it. I thought Boston would win, but I thought 8 points was too many, especially after Philadelphia put together a pretty solid defensive showing in Game 3. So I thought that it would be pretty low scoring getting Game 4. Happened. Yeah. Then you had that ridiculous 3-pointer by Embiid. I didn't touch it, though, but I'm not surprised the Celtics won. And I'm surprised Brett Brown has not been fired yet. So we'll see how that goes. But the Capitals in hockey, they don't waste any time. The Capitals already fired their coach. They lost 2 days ago.
And in the Dallas game, we had Luka Doncic.
Close enough.
coming off the horrible ankle sprain. No Porzingis.
How do you switch Reggie Jackson onto Doncic with 3 seconds left before the ball's even inbounded?
Don't understand that either.
Made no sense. I saw the matchup, and I'm like, oh, he's screwed. I'm looking at Reggie Jackson, like he's panicking. Oh, I'm like, oh, it's over. See you later. And they just step back. I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah, that was a very, very nice shot. I'll tell you what wasn't a nice shot, Scott, was Jamal Murray sinking that rattling three-pointer at the end of the game.
He had to get a meaningless 50 points. He had to do
it. Brutal. We had Utah -3 there, looking so good, and Donovan Mitchell misses his first free throw since Christmas.
After having 51 points.
After having 51 points, he really needed 52 there to at least give us a push. So
I know that was my play today. Yesterday, I had the Jazz team total over 109.5, and they had 97 going into the fourth quarter. So, yeah, Denver. If you didn't know this, at defense, they're bad. So we'll see what happens.
What do you call it? Not good. Not good.
Not good at all. But it was worked out well for me. I saw that total, and I'm like, that total makes absolutely no sense, and I pounced on it, and it worked out.
You know, there have been some interesting trends here, Scott, and you know, one of the in the bubble, one of the big trends is
Denver on the over probably.
It's the lack of defense from Denver actually. They're
Denver and Dallas. I know Dallas also struggled a lot defensively in terms of overs.
Yeah, also true. The Mavs are giving up. Even worse. The Mavs are giving. Those games are going 247 and a quarter, Scott.
Yeah,
and I don't believe they've played overtime. The Utah and Denver series first game went to overtime. They put in.
Dallas went to overtime yesterday.
What's that?
Dallas went to overtime yesterday.
That's correct. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah, they did go to overtime yesterday. So
they still gave up like 118 points or something in regulation. So it wasn't like their defense was suddenly amazing and then collapsed in overtime. Same point stands by. It's just it did go to overtime. Yeah,
you're right. And the Jazz Nuggets game, they did put an extra 30 points in overtime. So so you could take what do you got? 5 games. So you can take 6 points off of that.
Yeah, I mentioned this in my video that I made yesterday. You know that the last time Denver has allowed 109 points or less was March?
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I know you had a couple months off in between, but it's 13 straight games. They've allowed at least 110 points.
Well, and I've got a trend like that with the Lakers. The last time they allowed over 108 in a meaningful game, and I don't count the bubble games after they clinched because obviously that was
pre-Thunder matchup probably.
Very different game. The last time they did that was March the 1st in New Orleans. They gave up 109. So good defensive team there. Denver, not a good defensive team. So it's interesting trends as far as the bubble play goes. Scott, do you think there's something to the do you think there's a reason that the scoring seems to be up in the bubble for a lot of teams? Is it a lack of defense? Is there something that helps these guys shoot better? Is their focus? They don't have as many distractions. Everything's very routine.
Depends if you buy. There's a couple of factors. One, do you think that home court advantage has a serious negative impact on road teams?
Generally speaking, yes, but mainly because of the calls. I don't know that they.
That could be a factor. I know that there was a study that showed that teams are shooting better at the free throw line with no fans there as opposed to fans. I believe the league is up around 2%, 2 or 3% on free throws.
Sounds
so
right.
It plays a factor, which ties into my second fact, which is that the referees are terrible. And every game has turned into a massive foul fest. I mean, the Lakers couldn't make a free throw to save their lives in the first half against Portland, but they went to the line, 40-something times? I know Indiana's coach complained because Miami went to the line 52 times. I know Denver yesterday only went to the line like 10 times, but Utah went to the line like 30-something times.
Yeah.
A lot of referee hijinks stuff going on, so keep that in mind. So if you see a game that has Foster reffing it, you might want to consider taking the over because
Now, Scott, I want to make sure you've chosen your words carefully there because hijinks would indicate there's some nefarious purpose behind it, and that's
I'm not trying to say that there's a type of scandal. I mean hijinks in the fact that they're refereeing the game I think the NBA has just decided to manufacture points.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I mean by hijinks, because the league itself doesn't let you get away with anything defensively. I don't know how you're supposed to guard anybody nowadays. That's all I meant. The hijinks is the fact that the league itself tries to create higher scoring games by rewarding the offensive player basically every single time down the court.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you didn't get famous for the wrong reason there.
No, I wasn't trying to say that there was a Tim Donaghy part 2. No, I just meant that the league itself rewards the offense and punishes the defense. Kind of like the NFL with passing interference. You always just
I was going to say it's really kind of turned into the NFL.
Basically, I think you'll agree with that.
Yeah, it's hard not to. I mean, you look at the numbers. It's really hard not to agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at the card today. I know we got our first game there at 1:30. We'll real quick on that one is Milwaukee at another big number. You have any faith in the Bucks to cover 13.5 here?
Well, it seems like Orlando keeps being thrilled about dribbling out the ball in the last 15 seconds of the last 2 games. Crazy how deja vu was so just prevalent there. You had back-to-back games with Orlando having a shot to cover, and so they dribble the clock out. It was literally the same exact situation as Game 2, and it just happened again in Game 3.
Right.
If I was really going to lean anywhere, I'd lean to Milwaukee first half. Milwaukee seems like the team that dominates early and then just decides, you know what, we're just going to kick this into neutral real quick. And for that reason, although they have covered the last 2 games, a lot sweatier than it needed to be because they were up like 25 in the third quarter in both those games, and it turned out to be a one-possession situation. So,
yeah, I think if you had to play one, I think first half is the better play there.
I'll lean first half. I know Giannis will play a lot. You don't have to worry about pulling him. And I don't think Aaron Gordon's going to play. Orlando still doesn't have a great offense. Besides Vucevic, that entire team is basically useless. Terrence Ross is insistent upon chucking up the ball as fast as he possibly can. So he'll make a couple threes here and there. But who you really scared of? DJ Augustine? Markelle Fultz? You got Gary Clark taking 5 3? No, you got Vucevic who's putting up 30 and nobody else can do anything.
Yeah, it really is a one-man band at that point. All right, Rockets and Thunder. Rockets 2.5-point favorite. 224 is the number there. This has been a little bit of a psycho series, Scott.
I think I said OKC before the series was going to win it, and I did not expect them to lose games 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think they're live. You look at every game, the spread's roughly 2.5 to 3, which makes you believe that Vegas thinks these teams are pretty even. And it ties into my play today, which I had a player prop on the matchup. But I think Oklahoma City might have stumbled into a solid counter lineup for the Rockets small ball, which paid off in overtime. I know that Harden ended up fouling out, so that played a factor. But OKC might have stumbled upon a pretty good lineup they got there, and I expect to see a decent amount of points. I'd lean to the over, and I actually think Oklahoma City's going to win.
Okay, all right, good enough.
I don't know if you know what I'm talking about or not.
No, I thought I thought OKC. I was like you. I thought without Westbrook there, I really liked OKC at the beginning of this. It did seem like they struggled to find the answer for the small ball lineup. I know the lineup you're talking about. I'm not sure we don't have too small of a sample size. It
is small, but it's a small sample size, but I do think that they were failing so tremendously in the first couple of games that even a little bit of success should be some type of moral victory at that point.
Well, when you have a team that's innovative or doing something different, you have to make a decision about whether you're going to adjust to what they're doing.
I don't think Oklahoma City expected to put Gallinari at the center.
Right, or whether you're gonna play your regular game, and
it worked though. It worked. They can switch everything back. I think Oklahoma City with this new lineup. I know that Oklahoma City has seen a decent amount of Houston's small ball lineups, so they can make adjustments. I can't say the same about the Rockets. They've only seen the lineup in overtime. I think the Thunder might have an advantage in Game 4 because they're going to be working out a somewhat new depth lineup that Houston really doesn't have much time to prepare for.
Yeah, and they've had a couple of days to work on it in practice. So, I think I don't have a strong play there, but I do like Oklahoma City.
This game will be close. I'll lean to the over though. You have both teams going small. I think you'll see a bunch of 3-point shots.
Okay, good enough. Indiana, Miami. 5:30 p.m. Miami is a
roughly 6 or 7.
Yeah, 6-point favorite. It has come down a little bit there as far as that number goes.
Indiana was very live in Game 3. They were down 20-something in the first half. He couldn't miss a shot. and then Indiana cut it to 2 in the middle of the fourth quarter. So they went on a massive run. They just couldn't close it out. But the Heat also had 52 free throws. I have a question for you. If a coach calls out the officiating, indirectly or directly, do you think that plays a factor in future games? I remember that Fizdale years ago with the Grizzlies had his take that for data speech where he talked about how the Grizzlies were getting screwed by the refs and how the opposition got significantly more free throws. And then I'm pretty sure Memphis got a ton of calls the game after.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I think referees are just only human. I also think that if a coach has a legitimate point, that the referees are probably going to hear from the league. And,
I think you might have been onto something. I don't like to believe in the conspiracy theorist stuff, but 52 free throws is a lot of free throws for Miami.
Well, and you have to look at the disparity too.
Yeah.
You know, and if they're getting 52 and Indiana's getting,
like 20,
15 or 20, then yeah, it's something that you definitely have to take a look at. So
I thought that happened last night with Denver. Denver got screwed at the line. They shot maybe 10 free throws the whole game, and Utah had about 30-something.
Yeah, they said that when they shot there late in the fourth quarter that they hadn't shot a free throw since the second quarter. So
yeah, and I was wondering in today's NBA, I don't even know how you can go through 20 seconds that go into the foul line. But yeah, for me, I'm going to lean to Indiana. I think that Miami's going to win the series. I know before the series I had Indiana losing in 5. They could get swept. Miami has the depth in the three-point shooting. But I'm kind of curious if Indiana might have, I don't want to say figured something out late in that game in Game 3, but I do like the fact that they play with a ton of heart under McMillan, and I think that they're not going to roll over and die, so to speak. So I think Indiana will give a last-ditch, Custer's last-stand effort, and I think that they might lose by 3 or so, but I think they'll cover.
Okay, good enough. I like this Miami team. I think they're peaking at the right time.
I love this Miami team. I think they're going to beat Milwaukee in the next round. And in my NBA restart, I'm actually free rolling a Heat title bet at 33-1, the Heat Eastern Conference bet at 10-1. So I got those going for me. But I think Indiana could win this game.
All right, good enough. Last game there on the slate is the Los Angeles Lakers, Portland Trailblazers. Scott, let me ask you before we do this last game: do you think the manufactured home court advantage makes any difference at all there, where they get the defense and the cheers in the right spot and everything like that? Do you think that adds it all to the level of comfort for these guys?
I don't think it changes anything.
Okay.
I think that you can make the argument that maybe if you're not thinking about it, it means something. Then you look around, you see a bunch of video screens of 10 fans who are just cheering in their living room. Yeah, it's not exactly an intimidating atmosphere. You know what I mean? Like the sound is completely silent. Even if you saw the Doncic buzzer beater, for example, in live time, not the broadcast, but they actually had a video on Twitter of like a courtside viewing. Right. Complete silence. Like nobody was doing anything. The Mavericks bench, of course, went nuts, but it was minuscule compared to the uproar you would have gotten in an actual playoff venue. So no, right. I don't think it makes any impact at all. You?
All right. No, I think it may.
I think it matters for some teams more than others. Like I think Denver would be winning the series if they were playing in Denver because the altitude I thought would kill Utah.
Yeah, that is always Denver's ace in the hole. Is that altitude, especially playing, especially the first game when you've got to go from especially like Salt Lake, which is sea level. Mm-hmm. You got to go from Salt Lake to 5,300 feet roughly. That first game is always something to watch there with Denver. Now, as teams stay there, they would play the middle 3 games there, I guess. Then they get acclimated to it, and it's not as big of a factor. But yeah, that definitely makes a difference. I don't know. I think it might help the comfort level just a little bit as the.
I think it does subconsciously, but for the most part, I don't really think you notice it.
All right. So does
I think this game's really tough, and I know that people are going to immediately blindly bet the Lakers and just go, "Oh, they figured them out. They've won both games. They've covered both." I had plays today on games 2 and 3, so I would know about that. But they barely covered in game 3. LeBron had 38, Davis had 31, I believe, and they still barely covered. And Portland did what they probably should do, which was completely abandon the entire bench. And I feel like you kind of have to play lower than 45 minutes a game if you really want to win.
They're really playing, for all intents and purposes, maybe a 7-man rotation here.
I think you might have to. If you look at how close that game was, they were up double digits in the first half. Like they looked pretty good. Just
Yeah.
gave up a run at the end of the second quarter, and then the Lakers came out, punched them in the mouth in the start of the third, and they kind of coasted after that. But Portland just decided to abandon the bench. They finally listened to me. They gave Hazonia like 3 minutes in game 3, and they probably should give him 0, but either or, you can't win them all. And
Go ahead.
I think you need basically a 6-man rotation with Gabriel and Gary Trent coming off the bench. I think everybody else is useless, and I think you just throw out the starting 5 and tell Lillard, no matter what, you're taking 30-plus shots.
As a sidelight here,
Do you agree with that, by the way?
Yeah, I think
you tell Lillard and McCollum you're shooting at least 70% of our shots. Everybody get the hell out of the way.
I think that's the path to victory. Now
I agree, and I think they're going to do that, which is why you see money come in on the over. Because I do think this game will be a little bit more high scoring. Because I do think that I think Portland's going to try to run and gun with the Lakers because they kind of need to. Because in the half court, they've been a disaster in the half court offensively in the series, so they kind of need to push the pace. So I'd lean over. But I think that spreads it's interesting. Money's coming on Portland. I think that's pretty telling to me.
Money's coming on Portland, and I think the public just can't help themselves betting an over. Right?
That's the point. The point is that money's coming on the over, but I don't think the public's betting Portland. Like, money's dropping. I'm assuming people are hammering the Lakers.
It's come down half a point. Yeah.
I got to assume that's sharp money coming in on Portland. So if I had to guess, because the public, there's no way the public's betting Portland after losing the last 2 games against the 1 seed. Especially after LeBron woke up for 30-plus in Game 3. I got to assume all the public's going to be on the Lakers, but yet the fact that money's coming in on Portland, I think Portland might be live. I don't think they're going to win, but I think they might be live. So I'm going to lean to the over because I'm more interested in that total move. But, yeah, I think Portland might cover.
Have you ever seen a lack of hustle like the Lakers had the other night when they it took
both teams on that 3-on-2 fast break for about 20 seconds?
Yeah, where LeBron.
Both teams, nobody wanted to run.
It's unbelievable.
One of the dumbest things I've ever seen. But, it didn't matter in the end. I was more concerned about McCollum, Lakers taking a shot clock violation with 9 seconds left, and I'm trying to avoid a 3. And then they gave McCollum a free layup, and he actually took it. And I was thrilled that they just had the Matador Olay defense for a layup. It really helped me out there. It
worked out okay. That one stayed under. All right.
I'm going to lean to Portland plus the points, but I have a bigger lean on the over.
Huh? Yeah, I don't know.
Portland can run out of gas because all the starters played that many minutes. But
that's what I'm worried about.
Portland's defense is terrible, so that also plays a factor. But I don't know. Something about that total moving up just makes me believe that they're expecting a relatively high scoring game. Then again, the totals have been off in this series. So, Game 3 was close. The first 2 games weren't even close. So I don't know. Maybe they're expecting some correction where it should be closer to the number, but I'm going to lean over.
Well, I'm a big fan of fading the line moves in most cases too. So that means, unless it is a sharp move, which
I think that Portland spread is a sharp move.
Okay.
I just don't know I don't know what member of the public's going to be betting on against the Lakers.
The Portland spread could be a smart move. I'm not sure the over is a smart move.
The over might not be because it's moved up a lot. But
up from 24.5 to 25.5.
I'm still going to lean over on it.
Okay, good enough. All right, very good. All right, guys. Well, there's an NBA show. This may be it could be the last day we have 4 games. So enjoy it. We'll see what happens. We could have this same set again on Wednesday.
I got to go back to watching baseball now. It's worked out well for me. The Yankees haven't played in about 5 days because the Mets had COVID, so they're coming back Tuesday.
I have a heartbreaking story to share on the baseball side. So, hey, we look forward to that. This is our NBA show. As always, we appreciate you guys stopping by. Scott does a number of articles over there at Winners and Winers, as do all of our other great handicappers. So make sure you stop by and check them out for deep dives and examinations.
Also, my video for Play of the Day was up. If you want to check that out, it's on the Rockets and Thunder game, and you can check that out as well. Yeah,
don't forget to check out always Scott's Play of the Day. Nice plug there, buddy. And
I learned from the best.
Well done. And of course, we do videos for all the games on the board every single day. So check those out. If you don't get enough of us on Today in Sports Betting, there are plenty more opportunities to see our smiling faces. So for myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at winnersandwiners.com, we appreciate you guys stopping by. try to make it a daily habit. And of course, to help you in your habit, make sure that you subscribe to our channel, click the bell, and that way you'll get notified each and every time there's a brand new episode up. All right, you guys take care. Good luck on all of your plays today. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time. Take care.